She plugs it in. The drive spins up. A soft mechanical hum. The same sound it made 11 years ago, the last time her father spoke. She presses play. Nothing. She checks the cable. Tries another port. Another laptop. A recovery tool she found at 2 a.m. A forum post from a stranger who swears it worked for them. Nothing. The file is still there. 640 kilobytes, exactly where it's always been. The folder icon hasn't changed. Windows still says it exists. But her father's voice, the only recording of it, has gone silent. Not deleted, not stolen, just unreadable. As if the drive forgot how to speak the language it was written in. Here's the part that should terrify you. This isn't a rare accident. It isn't bad luck or a cheap hard drive or a woman who should have backed things up better. It is happening right now to millions of files on millions of drives in millions of homes, quietly, invisibly, all at once. Somewhere, there is a library that no one built on purpose. Its shelves are full. Its books have titles, dates, even covers. But open one, and there's nothing inside. Just the ghost of a page that used to say something. We built a civilization that believes digital means forever. We were wrong, and we are already living inside that library. We assume permanence because digital things feel weightless. A photo doesn't yellow, a video doesn't fade in the sun. There's no dust to wipe off a memory stored in the cloud. So we stopped printing photographs. We stopped writing letters. We started keeping our children's first laughs, our parents' last voicemails, our own unfinished novels, inside machines we don't understand, made from materials we've never touched, running on formats we assume will always be readable. One drive, one family. That's where this starts. But it doesn't end there. In October of 2009, Yahoo switched off a website called GeoCities, one of the internet's first homes for ordinary people, built by hand, decorated with blinking text and bad MIDI music. 15 years of pages, tens of millions of user accounts. Gone in a single afternoon. A handful of volunteer archivists raced the deadline and rescued what they could. Everyone else's homepage simply stopped existing. Not moved, not archived, just switched off. Like a room full of people's front doors vanishing in the same instant. That was one platform, one decision made in a boardroom on one afternoon. We didn't lose these memories to fire or flood or war. We lost them to time, the same enemy that has hunted every civilization in history. Except this time, it found a weakness we never saw coming. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. A clay tablet from 4,000 years ago can still be read today. A hard drive from 20 years ago often can't. And an entire generation's homepages disappeared in less time than it takes to read this sentence. Every hard drive stores information as microscopic magnetic patterns, north and south, 1 and 0, up and down. It's a form of memory so small, it's invisible, even under most microscopes. And magnetism, like memory itself, fades. It doesn't announce itself. There's no warning light. Scientists call it bit rot, the slow, random flipping of individual bits as magnetic charges weaken over years. One bit flips from a 1 to a 0, and somewhere, a single pixel in a wedding photo turns the wrong color. 1,000 bits flip, and the file simply refuses to open. Somewhere, maybe, a father's voice turns to static, one imperceptible bit at a time, years before his daughter ever tries to press play. Nobody deleted it, nothing was stolen. It just quietly stopped being true. Even the world's most protected data isn't safe from this. In 1998, an animator at Pixar ran a routine command to clear old files from the studio's servers. It reached further than intended. In seconds, 90% of Toy Story 2, 3 years of work, thousands of character models and animated scenes began disappearing, file by file, while horrified engineers watched a folder count fall from 40 files to 4. The studio's backup system had been failing silently for weeks, so the safety net meant to catch exactly this moment simply wasn't there. The film survived only because one supervising technical director, home on maternity leave, happened to have a personal copy on the desktop computer in her house. If Pixar, with professional engineers, redundant servers, and a company built around protecting its own work, could come within one home computer of losing an entire film, what chance does a hard drive in someone's closet actually have?
Solid-state drives, the SSDs inside your phone, your laptop, most modern computers, decay differently, but no less certainly. They store data as electrical charge trapped in microscopic cells. Unplug one and put it in a drawer, and that charge leaks away, like air from a tire nobody's checking. Leave an SSD unpowered long enough, sometimes just a year or two, especially in heat, and the charge drops below the threshold your computer needs to tell a 1 from a 0. Then there's the decay you can't blame on physics at all: format obsolescence. Somewhere in your house is a file, a WordPerfect document, a mini DV tape, a zip disk that is perfectly intact and completely unreadable because the software that understood it no longer exists. The data survived. The language died. And sometimes nobody even needs a reason. In 2019, MySpace admitted that a botched server migration had quietly wiped out an estimated 50 million songs, 12 years of music, uploaded by 14 million artists, gone without warning. Demos from teenagers in garage bands, early tracks from musicians who later became famous. And somewhere in that wreckage, a message from a grieving mother, searching for a single song her son had recorded at 7 years old with his guitar teacher, the only recording of it anywhere, 2 years after he had died. MySpace didn't apologize for losing it. They suggested, politely, that users should have kept their own backup. Encryption, ironically built to protect our data, can also entomb it. Lose the key, and even a perfectly preserved file becomes a locked box with no keyhole, forever. Each of these is a small, quiet failure. A single voicemail, a single photo, a single song a mother will never hear again. But multiply that failure by every hard drive, every format, every forgotten password across an entire species, and you're no longer looking at scattered accidents. You're looking at a library. Shelves that stretch further than any library in history. And a growing number of ghost shelves. Entries that still have titles, still have spines, but nothing left to read. Here is the sentence that should stop you. Archaeologists 2,000 years from now may know more about the daily life of ancient Rome than they will ever know about us. It sounds absurd. We have satellites. We have sensors on our wrists tracking every heartbeat. We generate more information in a single day than the entire 19th century produced in 100 years. And yet, almost none of it is built to last. A clay tablet from Mesopotamia has already survived 4,000 years and would survive 4,000 more, sitting in a drawer, untouched. Stone inscriptions from Egypt have outlived the language they were written in. Medieval monks copied manuscripts onto parchment so durable that some of it remains legible today. The ink's still dark against the page. Compare that to a JPEG. The Library of Congress has warned that we may be entering what researchers call a digital dark age, a historical gap not caused by the absence of records, but by records that exist and simply cannot be reached. NASA has faced this exact problem with its own history. Early space program tapes that survived the decades physically intact, but readable only by machines that stopped being manufactured before most of us were born. Here's the sentence to sit with. We built civilization's largest library, and we wrote every book in it with disappearing ink. Future historians won't find a blank void where the 21st century used to be. That would almost be easier. They'll find something stranger. A library that looks complete from the outside. Full shelves, familiar titles, photographs, home videos, entire lifetimes, all still technically there. They just won't be able to open any of it. They will become historians of a civilization that appears to have documented everything and remembers almost nothing. Ghost historians, studying a ghost century. Picture it directly. 300 years from now, someone finds a sealed box of hard drives in a collapsed data center, preserved by accident. They connect one, expecting the everyday record of a civilization. It's wars, weddings, music, arguments. Instead, silence. Rows of drives spinning uselessly, holding nothing anyone can reach. Not because we hid anything, because we forgot to build our memory to last. We didn't fail to record history. We recorded more of it than any civilization before us, and built almost none of it to outlive its own decade. Every format war, every discontinued app, every "the cloud will handle it," every password nobody wrote down.
Each one is a small act of forgetting, repeated billions of times across a species that assumed permanence was the default state of information. It isn't. It never was. One drive became one family. One platform became one generation. And one century, quietly, has become every one of us. Every civilization that will ever exist after this one, staring back at a shelf of ghosts and wondering who we were. Permanence has always been something you have to fight for. But somewhere in that same fear, something remarkable is happening. Scientists have started asking a question almost nobody asked before. What if we built something meant to survive, not decades, but geological time, long after every hard drive on Earth has turned to rust? At Microsoft's Project Silica, researchers etch data into small pieces of quartz glass using ultra-fast lasers, pulses so precise they carve microscopic voxels layer by layer inside the glass itself. The result is a disk that can survive being boiled, microwaved, scoured with steel wool, submerged, because there's no magnetism to fade, no charge to leak, just structure, permanent inside stone. Other researchers have turned to something stranger still, DNA. The same molecule that has carried the blueprint of life for nearly 4 billion years turns out to be one of the most efficient storage mediums ever discovered. A single gram, in theory, could hold hundreds of petabytes. Every movie ever made, compressed into something the size of a sugar cube, small enough to lose in your palm. Scientists have already encoded books, images, short films into synthetic strands of it, then read them back perfectly years later. The same molecule sitting inside every one of your own cells, right now, quietly proving it can outlast almost anything. There are nickel plate archives, engraved with information so small it requires an electron microscope to read, built to survive not centuries, but millennia. There are underground vaults in the Arctic, in decommissioned mine shafts, holding backups of human knowledge behind steel doors, insulated from war, from power failure, from time itself. It sounds like science fiction because it has to be. Nothing less strange would survive. Call them what they are. Humanity's newest pyramids. Not built for pharaohs, built for us. For the quiet, desperate hope that something of this era will still be legible when no one alive today is left to explain it. Built, in the smallest way, for a woman who just wanted to hear her father say her name one more time. And for everyone after her, who won't have to lose that same voice to silence. Every civilization leaves something behind, whether it means to or not. Egypt left monuments that still cast shadows across the desert. Rome left roads that people still walk without knowing whose empire first paved them. The medieval world left manuscripts, copied by candlelight, patient enough to survive 1,000 winters. We are leaving passwords. We are leaving files that need software that no longer exists, on drives that forget a little more of themselves every year, protected by encryption keys nobody wrote down anymore, but a mind that will eventually stop remembering them too. Somewhere tonight, a hard drive in a drawer is losing another fraction of a charge it can never get back. Somewhere tonight, a bit is flipping in a photograph nobody has opened in years. One pixel, then another. A memory dissolving so slowly that no one will notice until the day they go looking for it and find only static where a face used to be. Somewhere, the library keeps growing, shelf after shelf, book after book, a civilization's entire memory checked in and never checked out, and no way to know, from the spine alone, which books still have pages inside. Time has always erased things. That was never new. What's new is this. For the first time in human history, we built our memory out of something that decays faster than we do. And somewhere tonight, a woman sits in a dark room, holding a hard drive like it's fragile bone, trying one more cable, one more port, one more chance to press play on a voice she will never hear again.